What's up, wrestling fans? My name is Joe Cronin, and I just got back from, well, I didn't just got back. It's the day after AEW Boston, and I want to give you my review, more clarity than we had last night from the show. I have a couple interesting points to make about this show, so let's go ahead and let's get into it right now, baby.
This is Wardlow from AEW, and you're watching The Joe Cronin Show.
A wrestling podcast with attitude.
Yo, 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 yo. AEW Boston was last night. My name is Joe Cronin. And by the way, I'm going to be doing commentary for a couple of wrestling organizations around the New England area. Stay tuned for that message. Oh, JERICHO. And I will drag you down and sell you out. Run away. I am cold like November snow. I have lessons. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm just being weird. But yo, what's up? The Joe Cronin Show is brought to you by Title Match Wrestling Network, CZW, Bar Wrestling, Battle Club Pro. Hundreds of names you know from the independent wrestling circuit, and they have events all the time, and you can get them on TitleMatchWrestlingNetwork.com. They have deals with hundreds of wrestling companies. See the stars before they make it somewhere else, and you're like, wow, man, I know them from this or that. But anyway, 50% off. Coupon code Cronin. Check it out. And let's not forget our friends at audibletrial.com/JCS. Download a free audiobook. It's on Audible for the Joe Cronin Show fans. Judas in my mind. Yeah, that's right. You can get an audiobook read by Chris Jericho. He reads his own audiobook. Anyway, let's get into AEW. Let's get right into it. AEW in Boston last night. A lot of fun. I was there. One of the first things that happened when I got... Well, first, let's just get right to the show. I don't want to talk about everything else really that happened, but I do want to quickly mention it. Let's get it out of the way. You guys were awesome. I can't tell you the amount. I've never had that many people come up to me, and I've never met so many listeners of the show in the bathroom. So that was really fun. Am I really getting to that level, guys, where like I can't go to the bathroom? Like I love it. Every time I go to take a piss, I hear, Joe Cronin. And it's like, I'm like, well, yeah, what's up, man? Hold on, let me put my dick away. But no, I'm just kidding. I love it, man. I love it. I love had a lot of fun. I took so many photos with so many cool people. I met lots of cool people. I'm very happy for that. And I'll talk about that in my vlog, not here. Let's get right into this. Let's just say that I had a blast with all you guys before the show started. And thank you to Cody Rhodes and to Brandy Rhodes for coming on the Joe Cronin Show. Man, we made like national news everywhere with some of the stuff we got from Cody Rhodes the other day. So that was wonderful. And a big shout out to them for everything. Anyway, so AEW Boston, we started off. I'm going to ignore the dark match stuff right now. And let's just talk about the stuff that we all saw on TV. Because I'll talk about the dark match stuff that happened later on, at a later time when that stuff comes up. But for now, let's just go into the AEW, the results that you guys saw on television, which we started it off hot with the Young Bucks versus Private Party. And man, not enough can be said about Private Party. I'm very aware of them. A lot of people are, of how great they've been here in the Northeast in New York. Of course, my nemesis, a while back when he first wanted to jump on commentary, our buddy hooked him up with a job commentating over at House of Glory, and man, he has been JD. Man, he's been able to witness these guys. Private Party, very spoiled over there, is HOG, who just got HOG just got bought by Master P. What's gonna happen there? I don't know, man. A little bit different vibe when Master P comes to town, but Private Party, man, finally got to display what what they're capable of. And I thought a much better match for them. I really enjoyed this match with Private Party and the Young Bucks better than the last time we saw Private Party on AEW TV. Now, they were great, and they were high-flying and stuff like that, but in this match, it felt more like necessary what they were doing. So I really appreciated that about Private Party and the Young Bucks. They had a really exciting opening match. Again, like, I don't think it had that story and emotion. It had more of a competition feel. It had more of a competition that turns into a story of competition, if that makes any sense to anybody out there. And so, like, I don't know, man, like, that's what I felt about this match. I really, really, and the first thing I also want to say is lots of stuff felt better there. I watched things on television later on. I have watched the whole broadcast, and I do have some criticisms, and I do want to get those out of the way. And I want to say that the one thing I noticed is a lot of stuff there was better than on TV. For whatever reason, the television this week, the camera work was not as good. And I'm not slighting the cameramen. I'm talking about the cuts. There were some cuts that happened where we missed action. I saw stuff live that when I saw it on TV was completely missed because they were cutting to, like, it was like they were guessing. It was almost like the technical director wasn't, they weren't in sync together about where they should be going. It was almost like he hadn't memorized the buttons yet. Like, oh, I'll give you an example, and I know that I'm jumping around, but that's okay because I'm talking about the overall production of the show before really getting into the rest of the matches. And this will come up in all the matches reviews. There was one point where, Jericho was talking at the end of the show as they went off, and they were in on the ring, and they really should have been in on Jericho and then finished with Cody and them in the ring after Jericho threw the mic. And when Jericho said the line of, like, it's going to be your funeral, they didn't even see that. And then they cut to him and he threw the mic down. So they were in the ring with Cody and them, and when Jericho was saying this prominent line, and then they cut to Jericho, but he'd already thrown the mic and walked away. And I know that this may be completely nitpicking, but I honestly couldn't stop thinking about it the whole show. Was it because I was there in the audience and I was thinking about obviously what it must look like on TV, but unfortunately it didn't look that good on TV. The cuts or whoever made the decisions, they were a step behind constantly when something would happen, and then they would cut to it and they would have already missed it and then go back to the other guy, and then the other guy would do something and they missed it. So that was something that I noticed. That is a critique I have about the TV production that I didn't notice while live. Another big example is Darby Allin coming down with the skateboard. I'll get to that later. Let's get back to the Young Bucks. Young Bucks and Private Party, and especially the moment where people were jumping in and out of the ring. There was just great trade-offs. It was great competition, and the fact of the matter is, I give the match an 8. I would say probably an 8 out of 10. Good score for a TV match. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really give TV matches very good scores anymore, especially on Monday Night Raw and WWE. So for AEW to open the show with what I thought was an 8, I felt in person it was an 8.5. I felt in person Young Bucks and Private Party was, if you were in the front row, it was like a 9 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10. On the TV side of things, I'm going to give it an 8 because I saw the TV version of it later, and they just missed a lot of things, and that's unfortunate. Commentary would also do the same. There were examples of when I was watching the show, I thought of the things that I'd be saying on commentary and how I'd be portraying the story. And unfortunately, commentary missed a lot of that. I really do like Jim Ross, and I really do like Tony Schiavone, and I really do like Excalibur in many ways. But I couldn't help but think that they need somebody to drive the show, and they really don't have that. It feels like Tony and Jim and Excalibur are all number twos, and they're all kind of putting on they're kind of layering on their comments, but there's nobody driving it. And I wish that, and this is where, like, you know what I mean, I almost look, I wish that I was working at this company at AEW. I wish that I was a commentator, and because Tony Schiavone is amazing. He's so good. He brought in some great comments, and then Jim Ross was coming in with some great comments too, and then Excalibur would come in with some wonderful facts about moves and situations, and he did okay, but nobody would really take the reins tonight. I felt the commentary for some reason was a little better last week because I felt somebody wouldn't take the reins in the commentary in Boston. But I think that that's always happening, and because it's three guys who are kind of not, they're all sharing the microphone, you know, and yeah, I just felt like, for instance, when at some point, you know, obviously during the night, Kenny Omega came out to face Jon Moxley with a barbed wire broom, and he had a barbed wire bat, and I just felt that sort of story was underplayed a little bit. And then Pac was on commentary, and Pac attacks Kenny Omega in the back of the head. And the commentary went something like, you know, they basically didn't talk about that. They just were talking about maybe barbed wire. And then Jim Ross or somebody said, like, man, this carnage all over the place. And then Jon Moxley looked at the bat and looked at Kenny Omega, threw the bat down, and then walked to the back. And then they cut to a commercial. I don't know. I just felt like, well, why did they not mention that Moxley didn't attack Omega? You know, I mean, they started mentioning Moxley's not happy with Pac, but they didn't really go into anything else. Now, I know it's obvious. We all know what happened, but I was surprised that commentary didn't layer into that a bit. Like, they didn't say, like, you know, they really didn't play into how Pac spoiled it. You know what I mean? Like, they really should have been like, you know, my God, Kenny Omega has a broom of barbed wire and a bat with barbed wire wrapped around it. He just tossed it to Jon Moxley. And folks, we may be in for some kind of carnage that we didn't expect right now. This isn't sanctioned, whatever's happening right now on the ramp. And then when Pac hits, you know, Omega in the back of the head, you know, the boos happen and everything. And, you know, somebody probably would have said, you know, well, the fans aren't happy about this. Yeah, they thought they were just about to get a brutal bloodbath here. But you know, one of the commentators then could have said, well, thank God they stopped him. What do you want to see? A massacre live on TNT? You know, and that's where they could use a heel commentator or maybe somebody like Excalibur or somebody to come in and just be like, well, is that really what you want to see, Jim? Is these guys maim each other? I mean, Pac just saved us all, you know, seeing something egregious here in Boston. And then, you know, they should have said, well, Jon Moxley is not happy about this. And then, you know, well, he just did him a favor. He took out Kenny Omega. Now Jon Moxley can have his way with Kenny Omega with that baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. And there's nothing that Kenny Omega can do because he just got waffled in the back of the head with a steel chair. And Jon Moxley pacing over Omega. You know, oh, wait, John decided he's not going to take advantage of this. And then Jim Ross can come in and say, you know, like, well, that's a stand-up guy. He wants a fair fight. If there ever was a fair fight with barbed wire involved, but he wants a fair fight, and he's not going to do it that way. But at some point, I'll tell you what, that's going to happen. But damn, that Pac just ruined it for everybody. We were, you know, and they really could have played in all of that. They didn't do that at all. They did not do that at all. You can go back and listen to it. It's very played down. They really should have played into building Pac more as the heel, which is like, you just ruined this. We were going to see something crazy, and then Pac has to insert himself into this. Why would he insert himself into this? Like, these two guys have issues they need to work out, and this idiot comes in here and just interrupts this. None of the fans are happy, and Jon Moxley's so disgusted he didn't even take advantage of Kenny Omega. He threw the bat down and took off. You know, that type of thing. They didn't play into that at all. I know that it was visually, it was obvious. Visually, Jon Moxley told that story. Visually, Pac told that story. But audibly, they did not tell that story. And if you listen to it, I believe I'm right. If I'm wrong, I mean, someone mentioned it to me, but I watched it a couple times, and I was shocked when I got home that the commentary didn't get on that. And it did happen. Things happen fast and whatever else. But I don't know. And I'm nitpicking here. But I'm going to do that because that's what I want to do. I want to say all the great things about AEW, and I want to bring up all the nitpicks. And this is a nitpick to me, but I think it's a little more than a nitpick, and that's why I'm bringing it up. I feel it's important that excitement and story should have been told. And quite honestly, and I hate to say this because I don't know, man. I don't even want to say it because I'm sick of saying it. People are sick of hearing me say it. I just wish that there was I almost wish there was a heel commentator to sort of play that angle. Or I wish there was another guy who they could have gotten into that. But I feel because all three guys are face play-by-play guys, you know, they sort of miss that. And that's my critique of that. I'd play the audio for you, but I don't know what kind of copyright happens with AEW, so I don't want to do that, but you know, maybe I'll break it down more on Patreon or something. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, guys. Please keep me on the air. Go check out Patreon. But anyway, so Young Bucks 8.5 out of 10, or I'm going to say 8 out of 10 for the visual TV. If the video switching could have fixed it, it started to remind me a little bit of WWE with the cuts they were doing. They were frantic with cuts tonight compared to last week. And I get that because it was exciting. Things were happening left and right. It's actually hard to keep up with the action. So I will say it was a very difficult shoot, especially for maybe a new crew of guys with all this stuff going on. But it was noticeable to me. But anyway, we move over to the next thing, which is well, Private Party gets the pinfall also. They advance to the tournament, which in the tournament, which was a surprise. We thought the Young Bucks would go a little deeper, and eventually I didn't think the Young Bucks would win. But I did think the Young Bucks were going to make it towards the end, and or maybe we thought the Young Bucks were going to be screwed by somebody or something. I can't remember the picks now. They're on a video weeks ago. God, I can't even remember my own picks. But anyway, they did get eliminated. They put over Private Party. That's what the crowd really wanted. And, you know, I think the Young Bucks really, you know, helped put them on the map. And I think that was needed for a team like Private Party. And I think Private Party kind of put themselves on the map. The crowd wanted them there. And then the Young Bucks helped them get there. So it was all good stuff as far as I'm concerned. Jericho said, "We the people sucks. It's dead and buried." He went into this when the crowd just keeps chanting for Jericho. So after this, you know, Jericho comes out. The belt looks so amazing in person. Like, the television, the TV, or the internet does not do the justice of what that AEW World Heavyweight Championship looks like in real life. When you see this belt in real life, I mean, this thing is lit up, sparkling, the diamonds. The thing looks like it's worth more than your life. And it's beautiful. You almost want to make love to it. Like, it's quite unbelievable when you see the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in person. It is a thing of beauty. It is a thing to behold. And you should, nobody will hold it but Jericho right now. So Jericho, you know, he's getting cheered for. There's nothing you can do about it. The people are just loving him. And, you know, so he tells people, they start the "We the People" chant, and he goes, "Well, hold on a minute." And he says, "We the people sucks. It's dead and buried. Bad creative idea and everything." And he just buried WWE. It was great. He also said he was going to beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes. Like, I thought it was a great promo from Jericho. He had a couple little, like, flubs or whatever, but he's so damn awesome that it just came through beautifully. Jericho carried the thing amazing. I think this is one of the few times we've ever seen Jericho in a stable or in a group of guys like this. Usually Jericho holds his own by himself or with maybe one other guy sometimes in a tag, but never been a faction like this involving Jericho. So very interesting to see this and how it's going to develop, but they look but pretty damn good in the ring. I'm still not used to the guys all together. It's kind of like a bunch of oddities, like, all together. It's not, you know, it doesn't feel like, you know, like Nash and Hogan and those guys. Those guys all fit together like a glove. They felt like it. This is such a different cast of characters, but I think that's obviously by design, you know, and that's what makes it good. It's unique, a bunch of different people. A lot of people thought he was going to call this group like The List or something, or the A-List or something stupid, and, you know, A-list would be stupid as hell, but list, you know, people thought like the list or list club or something dumb like that. But he went with the inner circle, which is weird. I think part of the reason why, I'm just gonna guess why they went with inner circle, and maybe I'm wrong here, because I think it's kind of a horrible name. But the thing about it is Jericho gets anything over, so he could get inner circle out. He could get inner asshole over. If he called it, hey, I've got inner asshole. We're all the inner assholes. Do you know what we are? We're the inner assholes. That would get over, because he just gets everything over. But that's part of me thinks they called it inner circle so that it wouldn't be as cool as it could be, because he doesn't want it. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be the bad guys. So if he called it like, you know, like think of a name like Bullet Club, you know what I mean? It's like that would get over so well that it would, like right away you'd be popular. So you don't want that to happen, but you need a name because you want to sell some merch and stuff. I mean, I guess that's why they called it Inner Circle, or it's a reference to something I'm not aware of. But to me, I just kind of think it's a horrible name, but also it makes sense. I get it. So like it's not that horrible. I think that's just me. I think some other people have said it, but either way, Jericho, it doesn't matter, dude. This guy could get a goddamn hot dog over. Like a fan in the front row could take a dump, and Jericho could make a T-shirt that would make hundreds of thousands of dollars out of it. I mean, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, but the bottom line is Jericho gets everything over, and who cares? So Inner Circle, you know, 6 out of 10 name, but you know, it will be what it is. And I think it's done that way by design, and that's the genius of Jericho, I think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he would hear this and he'd be like, you idiot. No, I think the name's awesome. It makes sense, you moron. You know? I mean, maybe he would say that, but whatever. Either way, that's how I'm taking it that way, and since, you know, we'll never hear from Jericho probably. Although we had Cody Rhodes on the other day, so that was wonderful of Cody and Brandy to come on and thank them again. What a wonderful night I had. Darby Allin. So anyway, the promo, you know, I thought the promo was good. I'd probably say the promo, probably an 8 out of 10 promo. I thought it was an 8 out of 10 promo, and that's it. That's all. We'll move on from that. You really, one of the other things, let me say another positive. Let me say a positive, because I've had some kind of critiques a little bit about the commentary. But again, when I critique the commentary, I want to make it clear. I think Excalibur is great, and I think Jim Ross is great. Obviously, Jim Ross is my like fucking hero. And Tony Schiavone as well, man. I grew up with these guys' voices in my head. I love them to death. I do so bad. And I'll never. And you know, I'm just jealous, man. This is my job, to review wrestling. I'm 35 years old. I didn't get to do what Jim Ross did. I didn't get to do what Tony Schiavone did. I grew up listening to these guys, and I continue to live my life with the dream of becoming a wrestling announcer or a hockey announcer or a broadcaster, because that's what I wanted to do, man. And I know that's what I want to do, and I know that's what I still want to do, and I know that's all I ever want to do, because when I think about it, I get sad. I get really sad. I have times where I'm beyond depressed from not being able to commentate more and do more sports commentary. I mean, I bawl for it. Like a baby, I cry, because that's what I love. And I'm in a basement right now. I'm in my basement with a house that I have because of my show and because of you guys, which is amazing and it's incredible. But, you know, we always want more, and that's the one thing that I haven't ever hit and gotten to. So when I see those guys and those legends, you know, I have to critique what I'm hearing, and I feel like they're a step back. But one thing I want to support and say they did a great job of production-wise tonight was the commercials. When you're live at AEW, or at least when I was live at AEW, it never really felt like we were on a commercial. You know? And yeah, WWE does a pretty good job of that sometimes too. They're pretty good with it. But AEW did a very, very good job of it. It never felt like we were off the air. In fact, there were times where I said to myself, like, man, I wonder where the commercials are. I have no idea where the commercial breaks are happening. You know, like right when Jericho got done with his promo, they cut to commercial immediately, and I guess. But in person, it felt like something else was going to happen. you know, and then before you knew it, something else was happening, and you were back from commercial. And so I just want to say that the live presentation is very well done. You know, in WWE, like if they go to commercial, a lot of times, you know, the lights dim and the music stops, and literally the commercials play, or whatever, or the sound will go out. Like, it's just very strange. And that never felt that way at AEW. It felt like this show is live. We are doing this. Like, the TV stuff is in the background. That's happening, yeah, but we're experiencing this live. It's happening live because it's happening live. The TV is, yes, we're videoing, we're live to everybody on TNT, but, you know, we're doing this for the now. Whereas WWE, a lot of times, it feels like you're part of a movie or a show. It doesn't feel like you're, like, the TV comes first and you're secondary. You're like a puppet. You're part of an audience, like on a game show. That's what WWE has started to feel like a lot. And I'll tell you, man, AEW had the opposite feeling. I really, it's crazy. It felt, and that's what, you know, wrestling used to feel like that back in the, you know, mid, maybe late-ish 90s. You know, it felt like, yeah, you're on TV, but this is live and it's happening and anything could happen. Whereas in WWE, it's so planned and so commercial break and now do this, and, you know, that it feels like you're part of a game show that's just going through steps. So anyway, there's a little comparison there. There's a little perspective on that. Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc, #1 contender match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. One of these guys is going to get a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and they're both guys who like to get crazy, have their little hardcore moments, would maybe rather feel some pain than win a match. Jimmy Havoc and Darby Allin. These guys, but it's not a hardcore match. There's something more on the line. It's the AEW World title. And once again, I believe commentary undersold that. They talked about Darby Allin being half a skeleton and half dead. They talked about Jimmy Havoc and all the things and sick things he likes to do. They talked about the match and how the match was pretty good. And they did bring up that, you know, these guys are looking to prove that they're not just hardcore or whatever. They can do other things besides hardcore stuff. But that was the only mention of it, pretty much, I believe, on TV. They mentioned it one time at the beginning, and that was about it. Right there, with Darby Allin, that image on your screen right there is about when they were mentioning it on TV. They had a little promo for Jimmy Havoc, which I felt was a bit generic, like, you're going to feel my pain, or whatever. It's like, okay, I've heard a million wrestlers say you're going to feel my pain. Why was there a promo of him saying, like, you're going to feel my pain? The promo really should have been, like, about the #1 contendership. The belt is on the line, man. The chance at the belt is on the line. So it really should have been portrayed that, like, you know, these guys have to really get a little bit more serious, you know, in this match, and you know, you don't want to get disqualified because the #1 contendership, you know, is on the line right here. They're going to get a shot. Whoever wins this match is going to get a shot at the AEW World title. You know, I know that these guys enjoy sometimes inflicting pain on their opponents, but this, you know, you've got to think smart in this match as opposed to reckless. And that's the interesting thing about this matchup right now between Jimmy Havoc and Darby Allin. You know, somebody may think about getting carried away and bringing a chair into the match or doing something, and if you get disqualified, there's no reason to be doing that. The AEW World title's on the line. And, you know, talking about these guys being able to wrestle a match without a stipulation, we haven't really seen this from them yet. We're going to get to some of the, you know, their pro wrestling background here, going back to basics, is really going to be on display. Their technical sides, things that they were trained on early on as wrestlers, that's what's going to come out here in this match. And it's like they really didn't go into all that stuff. They just kind of had a match and talked about it, talked about their match and #1 contender. And like I said, Jimmy Havoc came on and cut a promo that was like, you're going to feel my pain and all this stuff. And I felt that that was off kilter. I felt like, well, no, the promo should be about, like, you know, not only do I like physically hurting people because I'm so full of pain and I'm so full of rage, I love, the one thing I love more than being in pain myself is watching others in pain. And, you know, you're not going to be, you know, this is for the #1 contendership. You know, you're going to feel, you know, the pain you're going to feel is loss. And that loss is going to be at the hands of me, Jimmy Havoc. And, you know, I'm going to go on to have an AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. And, you know, you're going to be left broken and in misery, like, or something like that. You know, like, it would have been more about how, you know, he's going to go for the AEW title. And I felt like they didn't put over enough that this is a #1 contendership match. It was more of like, here's these two guys who are normally crazy, but in this match they're going to, you know, they're going to go ahead and have to wrestle a match without hardcore rules, and it's for the #1 contendership. But they really didn't. That felt secondary. It didn't. It was like, oh yeah, they're going to have a match, but then also there's a #1 contender. I don't know. It just felt weird. I felt like that could have been put together a little bit better. But I did like it. I did like the match for the most part. What it was, it made sense, and Darby Allin gets the victory, which is I predicted Darby Allin getting that victory, and he did. He will face Jericho next week on AEW Dynamite, so that's going to be cool. Title defense next week, and we'll hear more from. We'll talk more about Darby Allin in a few minutes here with what he did at the end. Bea Priestley, Sakura, AEW Women's Champion Riho, and Dr. Britt Baker had a match after this. It was I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good time, man. I was still enjoying it. Live, I missed half of it because I was walking around at that time. I ran into some people that I knew, but I watched it on TV in full, and I thought it was a pretty good match as well. Introducing Britt Baker a little bit better on TV and some of these other women. And, you know, Riho, the champion at the end, you know, they made sure to put her over. Which I think they were worried they were putting over Britt Baker too much. You know, JR ran in really quickly with the, like, but she's the champion, and everybody wants a shot at that belt. And, yeah, I enjoyed this okay on TV. I don't really know what I would rate it, though. Like, I feel like I got to watch it again. There were times I felt like the beginning and the end of the match were a little bit of a lull, but the middle of the match picked up, and so, like, I thought it was pretty good on TV. So the Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc thing, I thought that was like a, you know, probably a, you know, 6.5 wrestling match. I think it could have been better. I think, by the way, going back to Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc, I think the match could have been better if the commentary had painted the picture a little bit more and been more involved in it. I don't know. That's just my feeling. But yeah, the women's match, you know, I'd probably go around to, you know, 7 or 6.5 with that too. Maybe 6.5. A little bit. It was a little bit discombobulated, but it was pretty good. Pretty fun. I missed this TV segment. I want to check this out real quick. Yeah, at one point they went to Orange Cassidy in the crowd. Now, you guys know that I've given Orange Cassidy some shit for the independent stuff, but what I think about Orange Cassidy, AEW has done it because I do like him. I do like him. The charisma about him is interesting. I like it. AEW has done a really good job with this guy. When he comes out there with his hands in his pockets, he's had he was slapped. I think it was last week, wasn't it? Last week, he got his face slapped, and his glasses just come flying off. And it's like, again, that's what would happen. So I've enjoyed how they've booked Cassidy, Orange Cassidy so far. You know, he comes into the Rumble back at All Out or whatever it was, and, you know, Tommy Dreamer, he kicks him in the shins, but then Tommy Dreamer goes, oh yeah, I'll just throw you over the top rope. And he did. So far, Orange Cassidy has been a, you know what I mean, he's coming out with his gimmick, but then, you know, he gets beat up because he's got his hands in his pockets. So, you know, I've got to give it to AEW. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can hate Orange Cassidy's, like, independent stuff where he beats up a guy with his hand in his pockets. You can hate that and you can not like that. Some of you can love it. That's great. Some of you hate it. Some of you love it. Whatever. But bottom line is, I've felt that Orange Cassidy has been portrayed well on TV, believably well. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gotten beat up more than anything because he's got his hand in his pockets, and that's what would happen. Now, if he was, like, winning a championship with his hand in his pockets, dancing around the ring and being weird, like, that would drive me insane, and we would talk about that. But they have booked him perfectly in his little appearances that he's had on AEW TV. They have booked Orange Cassidy perfectly. Like, I have got to give it to them. They really did a great job with that. They have booked this guy in a way that gets him over, makes people pop for him, and yet he doesn't, it's not unbelievable, and it's not taking me completely out of everything. And when people say, it's wrestling, dude, it's not believe it, it's wrestling. Like, you take it easy, it's just wrestling. Like, these are idiots. It's like, dude, but people want to believe a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Otherwise, why even try do anything? Anyway, after this, Pac joins Sean Spears, or Pac joins the commentary team, and most of what Pac said on commentary I barely could understand because it was like muffled, I felt like, and then his accent. But I did hear a lot of what he said, but it was just kind of like that grimy, like, nobody talks about me being here, like, and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. Sean Spears versus Jon Moxley, Tully Blanchard. The beginning of it was hilarious because Tully Blanchard caught a headbutt from Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley comes out to a huge pop. And Justin Roberts. Dude, Justin Roberts. What an introduction by Justin Roberts. So much that JR referenced it. It was weird, man. Like, some of the stuff the commentary team referenced, like JR referenced the Justin Roberts intro. Like, he got the ring announcer over. That was just weird. Moxley came out, and it was awesome. And JR, instead of talking about Moxley, like, here's Moxley, he was, like, more impressed by Justin Roberts' introduction of Moxley. It was just weird. Like, I was like, what? Like, I mean, I noticed it, too. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe if I might have said something, too, if I was on commentary. I might have said, like, wow, what an introduction by Roberts. How about that one? You would have thought the world champion was coming out. But, no, it was just... whatever. It was weird. But anyway, and then they have the match. A forgettable match that, you know, it was, they went out there just to work, you know, to be out there. It was okay. It was more about the story of Jon Moxley, and really pretty much Sean Spears was just there to put over Moxley. And that was about it, man. I was actually surprised how they had Sean Spears built up as this evil son of a bitch, the chairman. And he was really classic Ty Dillinger job here. Not job, but, you know. But I like that. I thought it was what it needed to happen. You know, get out there, put some names out there, have a little match so they could tell this other story. So I like that. But it was, yeah, it was Jon Moxley got the cover. The double arm DDT ended it. I forget what he calls it. Calls it like Night Rider or Night Driver. I don't even remember anymore. Whatever the Dirty Deeds was called, it was before. But either way, it's a double arm DDT. It's with a little stank on it. A double arm DDT with a little snap on it. You know, I would do a double arm DDT the way Mick Foley used to do it. But yeah, Dean really drives it in there. Now this is when we get to the post-match thing with Kenny Omega with the broomstick covered in barbed wire, and Jon Moxley covered in barbed wire bat that Kenny gives to John. And then Pac runs up from behind with a friggin' chair. And then I felt the commentary team just kind of treated it like, oh, man, you know, wow. You know, Pac attacked him in the back of the head with the chair. And, man, there's debris everywhere out here. Anyway, let's go to commercial. And I swear by this, unless I miss something and I'm wrong, I just can't believe that the commentary team didn't talk more about how, you know, Pac is a scumbag. And these fans wanted to see Omega and Jon Moxley potentially maim each other here, and they're not going to get that now because Pac had to come out here for some reason and stick his nose into their business. And now Moxley, oh my God, what's Moxley going to do with Kenny Omega down? He could just maim him right now in front of these people. And Moxley's not going to do it. Moxley wants a fair fight. Moxley wants a fair fight no matter what. Barbed wire, the hatred he might have for Kenny Omega and Kenny has for him, they've still got some kind of respect for each other. And nobody can have respect for what Pac did here tonight. And why didn't they say like that stuff on commentary? I have no idea. And so that kind of drove me crazy. But whatever. Again, like I said, I love Tony Schiavone. I love Jim Ross. And I think Excalibur's good. But you might need a 4-man announce team. I don't know, man. But it was good. Anyway, I liked the scene. I liked the segment. And from my point of view, it looked great. From the side view that I had at where they designated the media or whatever, where we were in some section. Which, by the way, people asked about how the seats were. The place was pretty much sold out. You know, they tarped off the back area behind the stage, which they usually do. And then the side area direct from Jim Ross and the stage there, the ramp, that part was probably 50% filled. But I'm betting that they probably sold those tickets, or they probably had, other people that would have been there or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But looking out at the crowd around the whole building, it was pretty much sold out. I mean, it was sold out. People just either didn't show up or, scalpers didn't resell the tickets. But when I looked out there, it looked full. There was no red seats available in the lower bowl area. So everything was sold out. There was, because what happened was some people were getting there late. Some people actually got here late. Even at 7:50, 10 minutes before they were going on the air, there was still red seats, empty seats. Everybody was in the concessions. And it wasn't until about 8:04, 8:05 that I noticed the whole place was filled. And I went, oh, wow. But so all the pictures you saw of earlier, like, oh, it's kind of weird and scattered, that was just people that were in the concessions or that weren't there. They pretty much... 90% of the available seating was filled. 90%. So 90% of a seat that could be filled was filled. So, and it probably is more than that, actually. It was probably 96%. So the only other 4% were people that either didn't show up or the media area, whatever the case is. And the media probably didn't come. They probably gave the tickets out to people to come for the media stuff, and then they realized they weren't going to do a media segment this week. Which I think is a good idea, because God bless Tony Khan. Thank you, Tony Khan. If you ever listen to this, which you probably won't, please hire me, Tony Khan. Joe Cronin. But no, Tony was giving away stuff last week. Like, he was like, Jericho's stable. And then somebody was like, oh, they are a stable. And then Tony was like, well, it was, and Jericho probably fucking yelled at him for that in the back. He's probably like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm going to announce that next week. Now you just told everybody. So things like that are reasons why, media scrums at the end maybe aren't a good idea. Maybe they felt they weren't getting any value from it. They were just kind of exposing stuff they were doing. And now they're going to get questions every week about breaking kayfabe and shoot things and whatever. And that kind of fucks things up. So I'm actually in favor of it. Even though I am disappointed that I didn't get to go back there and ask some questions and hang out with that was disappointing. But I've got a cool media pass badge that's fucking awesome that I'm always going to keep, and it's amazing. I got a Young Bucks buck. But the guy that was sitting next to me, I don't know if he wants to be mentioned, so I won't say what wrestling place he was from, but he was really pissed. Well, he wasn't pissed, but he was kind of like really disappointed because he had, he was working for a website and he had all these questions. He was like, I got all these questions lined up, and now there's no media, Now, I knew that because Tony Khan said there might not be any media, next week. And they basically told me that, there might not be a Q&A after. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's no problem. Either way, I'm going to go. I'm going to love it. Yeah, fuck, it doesn't matter. But that guy went on the notion of, I want to ask questions, and I have all these questions and everything. So he was really disappointed. And one of his major questions, by the way, that he wanted to ask was where's all the black athletes that you were going to get and all these type of things. So he had a kind of a SJW question for him. But that's the type of stuff you breed if you start saying that you're going to go out and get all these guys and diversity and stuff. Now you're going to get people asking about that. And he wanted to ask that question. So that was interesting. But he was a great guy. I really enjoyed him. And and he had to sit next to me, and he was wondering why I was screaming at Joey Janela in the dark match afterwards, which I know Joey heard it, so which is funny, but I don't know. Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes, and Hangman Adam Page in the main event. It was good. It was an okay main event. You knew you were watching guys wrestling just to get to a bigger story. So it was a forgettable match, but good. They did a good job, and they got to the point that we really wanted to get to, where it breaks down. Jericho and Guevara, ended up cheating or whatever, and then the Judas effect. Dustin Rhodes was on fire in this match. The crowd really popped for Rhodes when Dustin jumped up on the top rope and did that kind of back turnaround cross body off the top rope. People really were popping for that. He was threatening shattered dreams at one point. That was cool. Adam Page did a wild moonsault that he almost took off into the atmosphere. And anyway, Jericho and Sammy Guevara get the pin, and they got heat going on, and all of a sudden the lights go out. But right before the lights are going out, I see this guy creeping towards the ring, hiding behind a security guard. They're leading towards the ring, and it was Cody. So it spoiled that for me. So live, it got spoiled because I saw him coming like a mile away. So I very obviously saw Cody coming. But it's funny that they do this lights out stuff a lot in AEW. They've done it for Orange Cassidy. It's something that normally would only be saved for a guy like The Undertaker in WWE, but they do it all the time. Cody Rhodes, lights out. He's behind Sammy Guevara. He shows up, surprises him, crossroads him, and then has that stare down with Jericho that was so intense and awesome. You could feel it. That's when finally the commentary kicked in. I think somebody said like that. You can feel this, whatever. You can feel it right now in the air. This rivalry with Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho. Let's go! Like that type of feeling, and I think somebody called it like that, and it was good. But before that, when Cody showed up, it was just weird. The lights go out. And I would have made a reference like, well, Cody has a lot of control here, and obviously he's able to get the lights down. And also, if you had a heel commentator, that's where you could really have a heel be like, well, this isn't fair. I mean, this guy has control of a lot of things here at AEW. Oh, I'm just going to have the lights turned out and jump a guy in the ring. But, and I'm not saying I want a heel announcer. I'm just saying, I can see all these moments where, wow, a heel announcer would work so well in this situation, man. It would work so well. God. And again, like one of my idols, man, Bobby the Brain Heenan is like one of my idols. Shawn Michaels, Bobby the Brain Heenan, JR, Vince McMahon. A lot of idols here. Chris Jericho. So yeah, the segment I thought was fun, and then it just got so chaotic, and that's why I think cameramen and directors and stuff had issues. With Darby Allin comes, MJF comes out with the chair, and they make it seem like he's going to turn again. And again, I felt like the commentary was weird. The commentary went right into saying that MJF was going to turn. Again, a heel commentator would have worked there, kind of like Bobby the Brain Heenan at Hulk Hogan. Like, well, MJF is here, you know what I mean? But whose side is he on? Because he's almost looking like he's gonna hit he's gonna hit Cody with that chair. Why would he do that? Somebody say, why would he hit Cody with a chair? He's Cody's best friend. I don't know. I've been hearing rumors in the back. And now look at this, and then he attacks the other guys, But I don't know, the rumor, it was weird how they went right to the fact that, wait, he's on there, it's the other way. I don't know, I thought it was weird. But anyway, then he attacked the Inner Circle instead of attacking Cody Rhodes with the chair. But, he's already, teased a turn twice or 3 times now, I think. I think it's the 3rd time that they've teased a turn, and it's like, Jesus, another one? But then, of course, but it was great. I liked it. I liked that they did it. I thought it was good. And then that popped the crowd when he attacked the Inner Circle instead, of course. And the crowd just caught fire because of it. And then MJF was pumping up in the ring, and he grabbed the top rope and just smashed it down, dude. The whole ring just shook when he did that. And he was on fire, man. And then he, of course, took a what I don't even know Jericho, the double knees. What's he calling it now? Not the code. Is he still calling it the code breaker? I don't know. He hits him with the code breaker, and then all hell's breaking loose, and then finally they get one up on Inner Circle. Inner Circle ends up they didn't retweet. They retreated. They retreated. Jericho retreats as the Inner Circle is getting bested. Jericho decides to get out of Dodge, and as he gets to the bottom of the ramp, being there live, I am telling you that the visual live was much better than TV. Because from my vantage point, Darby Allin came out right in front of my face, coming out on the ramp. And then I watched him go left to right on my visual, skateboarding down the ramp, and then dive up in the air and attack Jericho. And from my vantage point, that sequence looked awesome. And I think they should have had a camera angle from the top of the ramp down at Darby doing that. It would have looked better. But instead, we got an angle from like right behind Jericho's back, and we kind of didn't see it develop as well with him coming down. As awesome as it was, I don't know, they missed that. People still loved it, so it didn't matter. In fact, my Twitter blew up so much from it that I was like, oh man, that's awesome. That was as awesome on TV as it was in real life then, because that was awesome. That was hilarious. First, I thought, this is ridiculous. He's coming out with a skateboard. Is he really going to do this? And then I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. And then I thought it was awesome. So, whatever. I liked it. It popped me, so. But yeah, again, I thought the camera shots, this is me critiquing from this technical standpoint, I guess. Like I'm some kind of somebody. I'm sitting in a basement on YouTube, not working for anybody. I work for myself. I'm unemployed working for myself. I'm employed by me on my show. Not employed by a wrestling company other than the indie ones that hire me for little commentary positions. But that was just me. And I thought that was great, though. And then we go back to the ring. And again, I thought camera angles were missed here where Jericho said, you know, it's going to be your funeral. And they're not even on Jericho. And then they get back to Jericho, but he'd already gotten rid of the mic. And then they cut back to the guys in the ring and whatever. Maybe nobody cares about this. Maybe you at home didn't even notice this or didn't care. This stuff bothered me. And I'm sure, and they may noticed it too and been like, oh, yeah, we got to do better at that. But anyway, overall, Boston was a great experience. It was fun being back in Brookline area and the Commonwealth, Com Ave. It was fun to be down there. I went to school there for broadcasting for a little bit. I obviously left school. I ended up dropping out, and you know we didn't have any money, and school was a lot of money. But so I left. But to be there, it was still nostalgic when I go back to Boston, so that was really fun to be there. And to see all of you guys and to meet so many different people and take pictures and hang out and hear stories and see people with my t-shirt and shit, that was crazy. Soundwave 92 was repping the Joe Cronin Show shirt, so thank you, and thanks to everybody else who was hanging out. But on TV, overall, I'm going to give AEW an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really solid show, man. A really solid show that I enjoyed. And if they had nailed some of those other things, it would have gone even more up, you know, for me. A better commentary and better production would have brought this to at least an 8.5 for me. Maybe a 9. Probably not a 9, but an 8.5 at least. I'm giving it an 8, you know. And I have not seen NXT yet, so I will get to that next. That will be my next review. But there you go. AEW Boston, October 9th, 2019. My name is Joe Cronin. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't already. More of these coming every single week. And now here are some other videos you might have missed, including my full interview with Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. It was a fun time. Listen to that if you missed it. Hit me up on Twitter at CorruptedPod. Business questions, JoeCroninShow@yahoo.com. Click on these videos. Keep on watching, and I will see you guys tonight live for Out of Nowhere with Jake, me, and hopefully Connor as well tonight at 11 p.m. right here on the Joe Cronin Show. Thanks for listening. Leave some comments. I'll be reading them.